to proceed, comrades, in an orderly fashion. We're going to walk in that direction led by our officials. It's a peaceful picket. We're not going to be antagonized by anyone. We're going to be guided by the leadership. So members of the media, I'm giving you 30 seconds to come to the front so that you can be able to capture the proceedings and the procession to the Ugandan Commission. So let's all gather, let's sing, let's register our disapproval, comrades. The EFF is the only party that has spoken out against this bill. Not even the South African government has been able to defend the lives of the LGBTQI plus community here in Africa. So let's begin our program. Let's begin our procession. Members of the media, ensure you're in the front. There are buckets where you can put your cameras, and let's start our program. Thank you very much. Are the drivers here? Let's proceed.
Julius Malema wenyiko shivambu kautetelele amasoja Julius Malema wenyiko shivambu kautetelele amasoja safa sapela isizwe sinyama safa sapela isizwe sabanzundu safa sapela isizwe sinyama safa sapela isizwe sabanzundu Julius Malema wenyiko shivambu autetelele amasoja Julius Malema wenyiko shivambu autetelele amasoja no baba sola emawe na mapuno swahilile sola emawe we bazali baba sola emawe na mapuno swahilile sola emawe we mama no baba sola emawe na mapuno swahilile sola emawe mama no baba sola emawe na mapuno swahilile sola emawe bazali bami sola emawe na mapuno swahilile sola emawe setati azania sola emawe na mapuno swahilile sola emawe setati azania sola emawe na mapuno swahilile sola emawe bazali bami sola emawe na mapuno swahilile sola emawe we mama no baba sola emawe na mapuno swahilile sola iskobyo azania soka iskobyo na mapuno swahilile soka 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 iskobyo bazali bami soka iskobyo na mapuno swahilile soka iskobyo wenomeva baxolele Socialism umhlaba wonke sandleni sabantu akunamuntu ophethe umhlaba eyedwa socialism umhlaba wonke sandleni sabantu muntu ophethe umhlaba eyedwa socialism umhlaba wonke sandleni sabantu akunamuntu ophethe umhlaba eyedwa Saba Mapucho Bongila Bafuna kusetshenzela ngabantu Saba Mapucho Bongila kusetshenzela ngabantu bayesaba amaphutho bongila babefuna kusetshenzela ngabantu socialism umhlaba wonke sandleni sabantu akunamuntu ophethe umhlaba eyedwa socialism umhlaba wonke sandleni sabantu akunamuntu Saba, oh amaphutshwa, obabefuna ukusetshenziswa ngabantu bayayesaba. Oh, vela wena, 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 oh vela wena, 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 ngoba thina sithembele kuwe, ngoba uwe ulithemba lethu, vela wena, ngoba thina sithembele kuwe, ngoba uwe ulithemba lethu, vela wena, awuvela wena, vela wena wemalema, vela wena, awuvela wena, awuvela wena wemalema, vela wena, sibona ilanga lephuma liyoshona, boze ube nini wemalema, vela wena, sibona ilanga lephuma liyoshona, boze ube nini wemalema, vela wena, awuvela wena, vela wena wemalema, vela wena, awuvela wena wemalema, vela wena, sibona inganga lephuma liyoshona, boze ube nini wemalema, vela wena, sibona ilanga liphuma liyoshona, boze ube nini wemalema, vela wena, awuvela awuvela wena wemalema, vela wena, awuvela wena, vela wena wemalema, vela wena, uRamaphosa ubulala abantu, boze ube nini wemalema, vela wena, uRamaphosa ubulala abantu, boze ube nini wemalema, vela wena, awuvela wena, vela wena wemalema, vela wena, awuvela wena, vela wena wemalema, vela wena, siboMaphosa obulala abantu, boze ube nini wemalema,
justice for the poor. As a nation we need you. Smoke now, darling, step out. Oh, we pray to you, God. We pray, we pray. Nobody tape, uribon se fila, release our
Julius Malema, wenyiko shivambu, kautetelele ya masoja. Julius Malema, wenyiko shivambu, kautetelele ya masoja. Safa sapela isizwe sinyama, safa sapela isizwe sabanzoli, safa sapela isizwe sinyama, safa sapela isizwe sabanzoli. Julius Malema, wenyiko shivambu, autetelele imbi ya masoja. Julius Malema, wenyiko shivambu, autetelele imbi ya masoja. Yehu, 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 yehu. No baba sola emawe na mapuno swakwilile sola emawe we bazali baba sola emawe na mapuno swakwilile sola emawe we mama no baba sola emawe na mapuno swakwilile sola emawe mama no baba sola emawe na mapuno swakwilile sola emawe bazali bami sola emawe na mapuno swakwilile sola emawe setati azania sola emawe na mapuno swakwilile sola emawe setati azania sola emawe na mapuno swakwilile sola emawe bazali bami sola emawe na mapuno swakwilile sola emawe we mama no baba sola emawe na mapuno swakwilile sola emawe
Let's go.
Amandla! Amandla! Viva EFF, viva! Viva EFF, viva! Long live to our Commander and President Julius Malema, long live! Long live to the EFF, long live! Now, thank you very much and greetings to our President, officials, the leadership of the province of Gauteng, and everybody that is here today who have joined in our Picket. Because as the EFF, we are here at the Ugandan embassy. We are all aware about the brutality that is happening in Uganda as we speak. It is regarding the bill that President Museveni and the parliament, they want to pass that bill. So we are here today to send a memorandum to the Ugandan embassy for us to condemn what is happening in Uganda. So now today, we also want to welcome all the progressive organizations that have joined us here today. And now we have one of the Ugandan activists who is here with us today. I'm going to give her the opportunity. She is going to tell us about what is happening in Uganda at the moment.
Greetings, everyone. Amandla! Amandla! I'll start by asking all of you to take a moment of silence. Let's all take a moment of silence. Thank you so much for coming in solidarity with us. I'll start by introducing myself, and I'm going to read because, well, ADHD, and I don't want to forget points that I want to put forward. I'm Papa D, the first openly non-binary queer photographer from Uganda, a somatic embodied practitioner, a mental health advocate, a human rights activist, and a professional photojournalist. I'm also the founder of #WhatNext, a platform I created to share information and to fundraise in response to the crisis that is the anti-homosexuality bill. We have so far provided at least 35 queer siblings who are currently in isolation with food, medication, mental health services, and rehousing in safe spaces within the country, all through fundraising and rallying for solidarity and allyship. At the moment, we are receiving an average of at least 10 requests a day, and our fundraiser is still up and running. Please ask me about it after this. I was in Uganda a few months ago, and I only returned a few weeks ago. I returned here for a week to pick up my code of conduct from the police so that I can renew my research visa that I can't renew from here, only to be notified that I will be arrested at the airport because of my work and my visibility following the passing of the bill. On Friday, last Friday, together with the Civil Society Coalition and the Southern African LGBTQ+ organizations, handed in a memorandum both at the UN offices in Pretoria and the Parliament of South Africa in Cape Town, calling upon world leaders to respond in 7 days to our call for intervention against the anti-homosexuality bill of Uganda. I would like to read for you one of the emails from our request desk so you understand how deep this cut. Hello here. My name is Linda, not real names. And I've been referred by Sally to contact you about my case and see if you can help me. I'm a 23-year-old lesbian woman from Uganda. I'm one of those Ugandan LGBTQ+ people whose lives are at risk, and I humbly request you to read my story and maybe consider my request for help. I do LGBTQ+ advocacy through writing. This person received help from us, but I would like for you to understand the depth of how these implications with this law go. I should have graduated bachelor's in social work early February, but I could not, mainly because I chose to research the attitudes of Ugandan social workers towards sexual minorities as my final year project. My supervisor led me on with the topic and later said I could not graduate. When I told my mother that I was not going to graduate, she asked my uncle, who works at the university, to speak to my supervisor to know why I wasn't graduating. My supervisor told my mother that I was trying to promote immorality in the university, that I was a lesbian, and that I need spiritual conviction. This news spread to my entire family, which resulted into being beaten and getting bruises almost every day by my brother. The next days became harder and harder for me as a family. The next days became harder and harder for me at family events, and my mother even broke my computer. She said she had brought it for me to study and not to seduce and spoil people's children. In the real sense, I had only one girlfriend, and I was taken by my sister-in-law to a famous pastor's wife, renowned for helping instill manners in young girls. Reaching there, instead of helping me, she supported the other girls on isolating me and naming me the agent of the devil. I escaped this place and went to live in ... with an ex-girlfriend who is now transgender. His name is John. One Friday morning, as I was living with John's family, my brother and my cousin came with a female police officer looking for me. My friend and I were outed to everyone in that village and brutally pushed under the police car. We were charged with homosexuality and obstruction of the police. We spent the night in the cold police cell while officers occasionally checked if we were not sexually harassing inmates. The next day, my friend's family had to pay around 800,000 Uganda shillings to get bond, while I was forced to sign an agreement to be straight and stay at home until I find a good man as a condition for my release. On returning home, I found that my brother's friends had told the story and everybody knew how I was a lesbian. I face a lot of inhuman treatment from my family and community, yet I have nowhere to go because I just got out of school and have a project to finish before I can settle to find work. When the bill was reintroduced, local youth in my neighborhood kept warning me about how they would kill me and the government would thank them for it. Another time, while I was showering in the bathroom, our bathrooms are usually outside and open at the top. A man who rents one of my mother's houses tried to rape me. When I spoke to my mother, she said that the man was probably trying to help me get back to my senses. Moreover, many times my mother speaks of how she wishes I could give her grandchildren, even though if it meant being raped. Just last week, I went to collect my nephew from the local kindergarten, but the head teacher asked me to stop coming for the boy because she did not want her school to be associated with homosexuality. My mother has asked me to leave and seek help elsewhere because I have become a risk to the safety of the entire family. Unfortunately, even though an organization has tried to help me, all the shelters I could go to are filled to capacity while most are targets of violence. I'm stuck. I stay in and day out. I live in fear that any minute I could face my death. I'm desperate on what to do, and I highly appreciate any chance to relocate to anywhere safe. I have a valid passport and all necessary documents and can complete my degree projects remotely. I would appreciate any help to escape to safety. Kindly excuse the long story. I tried to make it short, but I was afraid of leaving out details. You see what we just did? Protesting on the streets. We don't have a right to do this as Ugandans. Whether it's by a government or not, we do not have any right of freedom of expression. We can't protest however peaceful we want to be. I wrote these key points so that I do not forget. To be black and homosexual is a death sentence. You are haunted for being black and haunted for being homosexual. I'm not standing here as an EFF member or supporter of any political agenda. To be honest, I'm not that familiar with who is who. I am a foreigner exiled from my country for who I choose to love, for my sexuality and my entire existence. I'm taking this platform to make you listen to me and to hear us. I stand before you as an individual whose rights have been violated beyond what I can take. I stand here as a human rights activist who cares about my people's basic human rights and their well-being. I stand here today for my queer siblings back at home who can't afford this visibility to demand for their rights. It was Transgender Visibility Day on Friday, and many of our trans siblings didn't even see the sun, nor did they access their medication. Though alive, this is not a way to live. I stand here today to unapologetically demand for the rights I very much deserve as a human being and a lawful citizen of Uganda. I stand here today to fight for our rights to housing, our rights to medication, our rights to education, our rights to privacy, our rights to freedom, freedom to roam free and express our authenticity, to fuck who we want to fuck, to exist far away from the margins. We want to exist far away from the margins of fearing if we are next. I stand here today to oppose the laws that criminalize my work as a photojournalist. My obligation to myself is to cover and highlight everyone's realities, not only what you want me to see. I stand here today to fight for my child's right to be who they want to be. I stand here today because I am human, a homosexual human, but a human nonetheless. There has always been incidents of public violence against LGBTQ plus people. Unlawful arrest of members of the LGBTQ plus community by police under the guise of promoting homosexuality, and evictions of members of the community from their rental homes because of the laws criminalizing of landlords who know their tenants are members of the LGBTQ plus community. As it stands, the majority of people are already hiding of fear. But for now, how long can they stay hidden if they don't have a job? They are qualified to work, but you're not employing them. Meanwhile, funders and donors' hands are tied when it comes to providing the help that people in need of food aid, resources, allocation, or even rudimentary mental health services desperately need. The fear that these laws impose on even discussing homosexuality is a major fact on why activists in the country are not speaking out. This law is aimed directly at eliminating the LGBTQ plus rights, activism in the country by effectively shutting down, paralyzing, and conserving any related organizations that support the LGBTQ plus rights. We need action-oriented interventions. We require that world leaders put pressure on Uganda's parliament to lose this barbaric bill as they lose taxpayers' money. And we call upon the rejection of the bill from Museveni. President Ramaphosa, South Africans can go to Uganda without a visa, but Ugandans need to acquire a $120 visa even for 5 days. And on top of a whole lot of paperwork to prove that we will be back to our country, and a whole lot of bank statements, and that our reason to visit is valid and backed up by an inviter. A year and a half ago, my student visa expired, along with my child's. We applied for extensions, and it took 8 months to get any response from our family application, only to be back with a year difference. My child has a year difference from me, but I can't use their visa to update mine so I can stay and take care of them so they don't miss school while trying to wait on me to sort my visa so we can be together. You say South African is a queer heaven. Queer people are in Uganda being suffocated by an homophobic system, and you haven't said a word. Please open the borders and ease the asylum process to a dignified one that doesn't see queer people waiting for 8 to 10 years to get their papers. Support grassroots organizations like #WhatNext to do the much needed work and continuously speak up to this violent bill from Uganda and elsewhere. To world leaders, You are silent to unorganized, radical, religious, anti-human rights movement and systematic political quagmire that calls for genocide of an already marginalized group. Make it make sense. The ripple effect of this hate is not only impacting queer Ugandans, by the way, but we are witnessing waves of ignorance and homophobic hate crimes through Kenya, through Ghana, through Nigeria, through Congo, through Zimbabwe, and even South Africa, and a lot more African countries. Until when are you planning to be silent? Until when are you planning to hide behind privilege while pumping money into hate propagandas? Until when can we allow the fear of persecution to silence us? If the government doesn't kill us, depression will. We can't afford the silence anymore. Stand in solidarity with us. Ask us how you can help and support our movement. We are not free until every single one of us is free. We are not brave if brave is the only choice to be. Museveni is pushing for an African strategy to stop homosexuality. He must be stopped. Silence becomes cowardice when occasion demands speaking out the whole truth and acting accordingly. Throughout history, it has been the inaction of those who could have acted, the indifference of those who should have known better, the silence of the voice of justice when it mattered most that has made it possible for evil to triumph. Showing up here and arguing that I'm Ugandan to the Ugandan embassy is already a criminal. It's already a criminal offense because I am simply queer. I can't have any freedom of expression until when? Until when? Please give us answers. We are humans before any labels. We are humans before we are queer. We are humans before anything else. We are citizens, lawfully citizens of the country. That you chase us out. Where do you want us to go? Where do you want us to go? This is not a political agenda. It's a human rights issue. This is why you shouldn't be silent. Because guess what? Maybe your child is a homosexual and you don't know that. And by you passing these laws, it's implicating your child. And your child is child. Please think about this and stop this bigotry. We won't be silent. We can't afford to be silent anymore. We can't afford to hide. When we called for allyship and solidarity, only the EFF showed up. Why? Why? And I'm standing here as an individual who wants to protest this stupidity. We can't take it anymore. And if EFF is providing that platform to march with us to literally push for the agenda of Museveni not signing the bill, we will do it. We will do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and thank you, and thank you very much, Papa D. And we want to say thank you to you, Papa D, because of your braveness and for you to coming here and telling us about what is currently happening in Uganda and for being the voice of the voiceless. We want to say thank you for your bravery. Now, I'm going to take this opportunity now to give to our #1 ground force, our president and commander-in-chief,
Museveni down. Down. Down with Museveni down. Down. Thank you very much, comrades. The mic is not working. So I'm not here to give a long speech. I'm here to say to the comrades and the people of Uganda, we are with them against the tyranny. Because we cannot allow any regime in the world to kill people on the basis of identity. We are victims of identity politics. We were killed because we were black. And the only crime we committed was being black. Today, all those who have been killed in Uganda is because it's a community that belongs to LGBTQI+. As a result, they get killed because you woke up one day, you don't like them. How are you going to identify that a person is gay? What scientific method are you going to use that she's lesbian? All you're going to do is to look at a person and out of hatred decide this one is gay, this one is lesbian. It cannot be correct that you identify people on the basis of hatred and you kill them. So we are saying to Museveni, leave the people the way they are. It is not our problem. It is not your problem. It is not a problem. What if Museveni is lesbian or gay himself? What if Museveni is going to discover that much later? Because there are people who discover that even when they are older, that actually this is who I am. So we must not, because in his family there are people who belong to the gay community. Those will not be killed because they are his family. But those who are not his family, those who do not have political connection, those who are not from well-known families and business families, they are going to be killed not because they are gay, but because they are poor and cannot afford the political connection. Because that's how politics are. They use political connection to decide whether to persecute this person or not to persecute. So we are here to say to Uganda, as long as the LGBTQ plus community is not free in Uganda, we are not free. As long as the people in Palestine are not free, we are not free. As long as the people of Cuba cannot trade anyhow they want with anyone they want in the world because of the economic embargo imposed on them by imperialist America for more than 60 years, we are not free. As long as the people of Swaziland cannot choose who's going to lead them, but some king out of drunkenness decide who must be a prime minister in Swaziland, we are not free. We are free if the world is free because we are part of the globe. If you take the globe in your house and look at it, once you break part of it, the whole globe will never be the same. It will be a broken globe. And once you break Swaziland, once you break Western Sahara, you must know that you have broken the world. The pain of the people of Uganda, it's our pain. The mothers and fathers who pretend to be on the side of the regime, they are just pretentious. No one can come to kill your child and you become supportive of such an individual. It doesn't matter how that child is behaving. There is nothing called corrective in rape. Rape is a rape, and therefore it must never be decorated with nice concepts to make it look good. There is no one who can sleep with all those people in Uganda in the name of correcting them, in the name of giving them a real man. A real man does not rape. A real man negotiate, and it becomes very nice when you negotiate. Easy come is not nice. Yeah? Ape usonju filo ukaru wa mushasha yo. Yeah, unore. Twara mo correct. You will never correct her. If anything, you are going to kill her. Because rape is murder. When you rape someone, you kill something in that person. And from that day, that person will never live a free life, because that trauma will permanently visit that person. So we are here to march against the rapists who are supported by Ugandan government. We are here to stand against murder. There is something called attempt homophobic life sentence. Attempt homophobic, what is that? How are you going to see that a person has attempted to be homophobic? You can hear there is barbarism, there is stupidity in the whole bill. And if Museveni knows what is good for him, he must not sign it into law. Already we have problems with Museveni according to how he's treating political opponents in Uganda. Bobi Wine can't move freely. His house has got soldiers outside. His family is being harassed, and a lot of his comrades are being imprisoned without trial, harassed for their political views in Uganda. As we are busy fighting for political freedoms of our comrades in Uganda, Museveni brings this bill that is anti-human, because gay rights are human rights. You can't say we are celebrating human rights in South Africa this month, yet there is another part of Africa which is not celebrating human rights. Comrades, Papa D mentioned something very important. When we go to Uganda, we don't need a visa. But when they come to South Africa, they need a visa. Yet we are one thing. When we say to you, we don't want borders, we don't mean access control and regulation of the people that are in this country. We simply mean there must not be visas amongst ourselves. So many countries in the world, a lot, come to South Africa without visa. But when we say the Ugandans must come to South Africa without visa, you xenophobic people say, no, we don't want them here. Yet there are countries of white people who come here without visa. Now, she's speaking about her going back home and then going to be arrested and perhaps even being killed. Yet you are just watching and doing nothing about it. She comes here to South Africa looking for safety, that I need to continue fighting for the rights of my people, but I must not die, so that this message can be heard all over the world. You say to her, go back to your home, even when there is all evidence before us that when she goes back home, she's going to be arrested, and because she has declared her identity, she will be killed if this bill is passed. You can't say an organization with an internationalist outlook allow a person to go back home to be killed. That is not what we're taught. International solidarity is what made us to be where we are now. This Mandela campaign was a call for black people and Africans in particular to have rights and to vote. In America, there were marches bigger than this to demand Mandela's release. In UK, there were marches bigger than this to demand Mandela's release. Mandela's release meant release of all political prisoners and freedom for all Africans. People all over the world fought for our freedom in what we called international solidarity. The people of Uganda are now saying to you, we ask for your solidarity because we are about to be butchered. And all who are asking for South Africa, let's stand firmly behind the people of Uganda, and through international solidarity, Museveni will not sign this bill into law. All organizations that are progressive all over the country and the world must write to Museveni directly and ask him not to sign this bill into law, because we support human rights, and this bill is going to violate the human rights. That's why you are here. Whether you love gays, whether you don't love them, as long as you love life and support human rights, you have to support them. You don't have to be in love with them. You ought to stand with the principle. And what is the principle? The principle is right to life. No one must take away a life of an individual or a community on the basis of their identity. That is a violation of what we stand for. What are rights? Rights is not what is given in the Constitution. Immediately when you are born with those rights. You were born with the right to life. Your birth gave you a right to life, not a politician. And once that right is given to you, not even a politician must be allowed to take that right away. It's not allowed. So, comrades, here today, you came out and said, we choose to be on the right side of life. We don't care who says what. We care about life. Worse, we care because we are the surviving victims of identity politics, where we were killed for being black and for being African. We salute you, comrades, for being brave and for standing firm with the LGBTQ plus community of Uganda. You are standing with them here. You are saying to the world and to Uganda, you must know those people you are about to kill, they are not alone. They've got friends in us, and even if you kill them, we are not your citizens. We will carry their struggle forward and continue to expose the hypocrisy of Museveni and the government of Uganda. All those parliamentarians who passed that bill in Uganda, shame on them. They must know that they are going to be killed themselves. One day, with this law, Museveni can wake up and say Bobby Wine is gay. Not because he's gay, but because he's disagreeing with him politically. He just says he's gay. According to law, he must be killed. He's going to use this law to kill his political opponents, and he must be stopped, and he must be stopped now. So, fighters, there is nothing that we are doing that is anti-African. African means allowing everybody in Africa to be who they are without passing judgment. We are not less Africans by supporting our own children, by supporting our own brothers and sisters. We are standing here and we are proud Africans. Don't make Africanism look like barbarism. It's not the same. To be an African doesn't mean to be a barbarian. And therefore, if you are a barbarian, Museveni, leave us out of your stupidity. We are not part of that. We are Africans and we are with the LGBTQI plus community. And we are proud Africans. And we are not ashamed of being Africans. And we are standing here in front of the Ugandan embassy, our embassy. Because anything African is us. Don't make this place smell of blood of innocent people. We want to stop you before you make shame of yourself. We are Ugandan. We identify with Ugandans. We are not of politicians. We are not bought by politicians. We'll never be bought by politicians. We are hand in hand with the people of Uganda, because gathered here today are proud Ugandans. Warat aurat. Arinyagi permission ya how. We are Ugandans and we are gay and we are proud. If in it's none of our problems. So comrades, without any waste of time, I'm going to give the TG to read the memorandum. The national chair is here, the DSG is here. The national chair can't climb this thing. She says her knee is giving her problems. That's why you see our Treasurer General being the one who's going to read the memorandum in front of the chair, because she was hurt during the fight in Parliament. They injured her knee. Those guys there in Parliament, if they can't get us men, they go look for women and beat up women. The cowardice government of Ramaphosa, who's a friend of Museveni, they are the same uncleists. They all sell uncle and make uncle look like it's an expensive taste meat. There's nothing special about uncle. They are using it to clean money. That's what they are doing, these two. Svara le Svara. Museveni was here to collect cash. He went back from sofas. I won't be shocked if there are sofas there in Uganda, because they are Ramaphosa, Museveni, one WhatsApp group. Over to you, TG.
Economic Freedom Fighters Memorandum to the Ugandan Embassy, Tuesday, 4 April 2023. The Economic Freedom Fighters is a radical and militant economic emancipation movement that brings together revolutionary, fearless, radical and militant activists, workers' movements, non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, and lobby groups under the umbrella of pursuing the struggle for economic emancipation. The EFF, as a protest movement with an internationalist outlook and an unwavering commitment to the marginalized and oppressed groups of people, vehemently opposes patriarchy, sexism, homophobia, and any other discriminatory practices that promote the oppression of any individual. The EFF is against the oppression of any individual based on their gender, gender expression, or sexual orientation, meaning that we are against patriarchy, sexism, and homophobia in all its manifestations. The EFF is also against tribalism and religious and cultural intolerance. We oppose any cultural or religious practices that promote the oppression of any individual, especially groups that have been historically oppressed by such practices. Understanding this, the Economic Freedom Fighters therefore renders concern and rejection over the inhuman anti-homosexuality bill that was passed by the Ugandan Parliament on the 21st of March 2023. The anti-homosexuality bill will see the outlawing of same-sex relationships and the criminalization of persons who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, which is LGBTQI plus community. Moreover, This bill further emboldens the stigma against the LGBTQI+ community and persons, which results in vicious crimes against innocent people and the victimization of family members or persons who assimilate into the LGBTQI community in Uganda. Africa has no place for religious fundamentalism, as well as the preservation of colonial laws that seek to control the sex lives of black people and instill feelings of hatred and intolerance over sexual orientation. The historical evidence of the lives our people have lived pays homage to the diverse lifestyles our people lived pre-colonization. It is thus a false argument to claim African tradition or culture to preserve the hatred of fellow Africans based on their gender performance and sexual orientation. Life imprisonment and death penalties should never be the adequate responses to people's interpersonal lives. To this effect, the Economic Freedom Fighters request that the following be attended to by President Yoweri Museveni and the Parliament of Uganda with the urgency it deserves. The Economic Freedom Fighters urges President Museveni to not sign the irrational Anti-Homosexuality Bill, which was adopted by the Ugandan Parliament on the 21st of March 2023. The Ugandan Parliament must embark on an educational tour that will see the elected leaders educated on matters pertaining to gender and sexuality, with a historical context that will highlight the colonial tenets of how homophobia and misogyny are rooted in racism and capitalism. That the Parliament of Uganda and President Museveni upholds all international and African statutes that seek to protect the human rights of LGBTQI+ persons that Uganda has in the past supported through being signatories. The EFF further calls for an end to harmful rhetoric against persons identified as LGBTQI in Uganda and across the continent. Harmful rhetoric results in intolerance and physical violence being purported against innocent individuals. Persons associated to the LGBTQI community face tremendous stigma as a result of their relation thereof. Freedoms of association should never be threatened, especially on the basis of homophobic hatred. The government of Uganda must aggressively engage in public awareness and communication strategies, as well as on training interventions aimed at or directed towards positively changing norms which declare LGBTQI+ sexual preferences as abnormal. The Parliament of Uganda ought to further amend all relevant existing legislation to include harsher minimum sentences for corrective rapes, specifically, or crimes committed with hatred as motivation in general. When homophobia is the basis for hatred and intolerance, it is only a matter of time for women and children to suffer the same consequences at the hands of patriarchal violence. The Parliament of Uganda should ensure that legislation pertaining to the alteration of sex description be formulated without delay to accommodate transgender persons. Moreover, harsh repercussions should be imminent for discriminatory practices against the LGBTQI and their associates in the workplace, communities, schools, and other public spaces. Lastly, the Parliament of Uganda ought to reject all forms of state-sanctioned abuse of basic human rights and the blatant disregard of dignity and the right to life as the basic tenets of all human beings, including the LGBTQI community. In essence, the EFF pleads with the government of Uganda to condemn and disassociate itself with anti-human rights practices and sentiments that endanger our lives, our people's lives. Numerous Ugandans who identify as LGBTQI+ and have in the past publicly fought for the realization of basic human rights of the LGBTQI+ community in Uganda and in the diaspora are forced to no longer call Uganda their home. That is a fundamental tragedy that the government of Uganda should reject with the contempt it deserves. If there's one place anyone should be who they are with no shame, that place is called home. Uganda, like the rest of the continent, is home to all Africans and in particular Ugandans. The right to self-identify as LGBTQI+ and freely associate with other persons should be a norm in society. The EFF encourages the people of Uganda and President Museveni to reject all historical abominations like colonization by rejecting to hate an African on the basis of their sexual orientation or gender. The above-mentioned demands are made in honor of Brian Waswa and the over 7 homosexual men and transgender women who were slain in homophobic attacks in October 2019. This after demanding members of the LGBTQI+ community facing physical violence, harassment, and prejudice in getting jobs, renting houses, or seeking medical care. We therefore hand over this memorandum to the High Commissioner
But if you want to jump, Jen. You everywhere. I know.
Guys, Amandla, thank you. They've sent us the general here. This might be a bit high, so I'm saying him on your behalf. So don't worry, they are going to acknowledge the memorandum. Over to you, General.
Honorable Julius Malema, the leader of the EFF, I am here to say, one, the High Commissioner, Ambassador Paul Amoro, is out of South Africa on official duty. His deputy, Ambassador Kintunyago, is also out of South Africa on official duty. The next on the line of hierarchy at the embassy is myself. I am Major General Fred Tolit Ochiti. I'm the defense attaché or military advisor to the embassy. Honorable Malema Julius, we welcome you to the High Commission. It is only unfortunate that we are gathered on a public road and we may have inconvenienced very many road users. We apologize for that. I wish to welcome you on behalf of Uganda High Commission and the staff of the mission to the High Commission of Uganda. I have had and I've received a copy of your memorandum. My duty here is not to respond to them. It's simply to receive. We promise we'll pass your memorandum to the authority responsible for your concern. With that, I wish you all a safe journey back to your destination. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Amandla. Amandla. Thank you very much, Major General. You are released. We really appreciate you coming out to receive our memorandum. Thank you very much. Amandla, fighters, like Major General said, as we go home, let's be very peaceful. The way we came, I think the organizers will bring closer the means of transport. Please look after each other, especially the females. If it happens you arrive late, make sure they arrive home safe. Arriving home safe means you must stand there until she switches on the light. You don't say, no, she's in and then you leave. You know we have our own problems here. We must not try to become better than Uganda, because there are lots of rapists who have taken over our streets and our homes and our churches, workplace, schools. So wherever we can find an opportunity to make sure that we all arrive home safe, please do that. Those who use their own money, their own transport, we really appreciate you, and we really are grateful that you took your own initiative. All organizations that are here, thank you very much. You don't have to support the EFF, you support the cause. If the cause is the same, we don't care who's raising it. The truth will always remain the truth, and that's what we are. These people who go around saying they want to bring God to schools, there is no longer God in schools. They are effectively saying they don't want the LGBTQI plus people in the schools. Anyone who says to you, there is no longer God in school, there is a problem, the children don't no longer pray, that is not the real story. The real story is that the children have become gays. We are going to remove gays in our schools. That's what they are saying when they say we are going to bring God into the schools. Who are they to bring God? Because we all go around with our own God. God is there with us. He doesn't need some ex-prisoner or a failed business person to bring God to schools. We've got God as we walk like this. We are here with God, and they are not here. They are not messengers or people who are going to deliver God. They are homophobic, and they hide behind God. So be careful of those thugs. Every time they say, no, want to bring God into schools, you must know those people are homophobic, and they are using God to do wrong things. So let God protect you after doing Lord's work today. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Amandla, Amandla, how are you? Pantsing a homophobia, pantsy. Pantsing a homophobia, pantsy. Amandla, how are you? No, thank you very much, fighters. Besingathanda nje ukubonga the Commander-in-Chief and the EFF collective for always ensuring that they are always on the side of the poor and the marginalized and the weak. Fighters, thank you very much for coming through. The President has already thanked you enough and shown our gratitude. Let us go back to the ground safely so. Let us ensure that we go to our branches and our wards safely so. Go and refresh and then go back to the ground, engage in the voter registration drive of the economic freedom fighters as mandate given unto us. With that being said, the program has reached its end. Sabong. Mandla. The buses will come here. Now they will come and collect you here, fighters.
See violence all around, families broken down, injustice.